Welcome back to the Leverage Lounge. I'm Mike Collier, and today's guest is a force. Chauncey Pham is a national real estate leader, seven-figure brand builder, investor, speaker, coach, and someone who's just mastered the art of leverage. Let's jump in. Tell us about Chauncey Pham.
I ended up getting into real estate because my husband and I had bought and sold 3 homes over like a 4-year period of our primary residences. I liked my job. I didn't want to become a realtor, but I went on and got my license anyway for one particular reason. I wanted to go to Disney World and pay for the VIP passes for all of us. So my goal was to make $15,000 a year so that we could go and ball out at Disney once a year. That was it. That was the only reason I got into the business. And very quickly realized that all of that sales and marketing that I had in my background worked really, really well in real estate. Ended up opening my own brokerage about 1.5 years later. And then about a year after that, joined the national brokerage that I'm with now, built a large team of agents, and it's just been off to the races.
What were some of the systems or even the mindset shifts that allowed you to transition from production to platform?
After being in the business for 6 months, I didn't look at production as being the end all. I then started looking at production as the entry level position into this vast industry that had all of these moving pieces that I could become a part of. I always looked at it as, okay, I'm going to learn everything that I can about sales and production and then learn about all of the processes, systems, organizations around it, and then figure out how I can capitalize on it. I think because that was my mindset, it was very easy for me to transition into these other spaces.
You entered into it thinking sales production, but like you said, it's only 6 months, which is impressive because at 6 months you had this mindset shift where you went from kind of this employee mindset to a business ownership mindset. I'm going to be a real estate business owner, not just some agent that's out here selling homes. So talk to us about how that kind of started to happen.
This is something that a lot of people would find to be a controversial statement, but I am inherently lazy. And when I say that, meaning I don't revere working hard. I don't find that it's noble just working yourself to the bone and not enjoying anything about life.
You don't care to have the story of sleeping in your car and sleeping at work and working 48 hours a week. No,
that's always been silly to me. The concept of that has always been silly to me. So in saying that, in everything that I've ever done, I'm always looking for processes and systems that can be duplicated and that can be automated and that can make my life easier. I want to say that one of the leaders of our group, Jay Kinder, I heard him say that if you can't hand over everything that you're doing to someone else for them to do it, all you've done is built a jail cell. You've built a job for yourself. It's not a business unless it's something that you can hand over. And so I really paid attention to that in real estate. And as I was building out all of these shortcuts and ways for me to do everything, I mean, Mike, even my conversations with people, I have text shortcuts in my phone. Instead of me having to ask for their phone number and then type out a message, I would just ask for their phone number and hit T1, and it would send an introduction email to them with a link to my website. So I just always was looking for ways to build out those processes. And so it was just a natural progression for me to continue doing that as I've built out all of the businesses that have come to follow.
You know, it's funny because you say that this came out of your need or the way that you're wired to simply, you're just lazy and you don't want to, but it comes from so much more because there's a whole bunch of lazy folks that's just not making no money out here, right? So you have a special brain and you think about things differently, which is why I wanted to have you on because I mean, every single time we talk, you expand my vision. Like, I hadn't even thought about that. Like, even the T1 text concept, like, why not? But we haven't, right? We rely on our CRMs to send this stuff out. And so you were doing it just with your text messages. And this was, many, many years ago. And you said something kind of powerful before we hit record. Maybe I'm paraphrasing, but you said visibility is vanity, but conversion is king, which I love that because you're converting your visibility into leverage.
Yes.
And so you're very visible on multiple platforms. How are you converting visibility into leverage? Like, how does that play into one? Why do you see it's being important to be on social media and to speak your truth on social media for people to see it? And then how does that turn into conversion?
That's a lot to unpack, but I think foundationally, obviously social media is a tool that if you leverage it properly, instead of having, again, multiple conversations and the same conversation over and over, it's just exposing you to a ton of people at one time. But more importantly, if you learn how to actually use that tool, because this is where I think a lot of real estate agents and people mess up, is they look at just getting on social media and using the tool that's going to solve all of their problems. But that's no different than me having a tool to build a house. But if I don't have a strategy and I don't have a floor plan and I don't have a blueprint, then it's not going to work. So I think leveraging the tool and understanding its power and the exposure that it can bring, but then putting a strategy behind it is super important.
You know, there's genius in your simplicity, even
Right.
still. And I'll underline that here. But because you're not showing up in the designer bags, in front of the luxury cars, in front of the houses and all that kind of stuff, then you're attracting a different type of clientele
Bingo.
that reaches out to you to begin with.
Correct. Correct.
Right. And so is that accidental? Are
No.
you just saying, hey, this is just who I am and who it attracts? Or are you also saying, I know who I actually want to work with, and I don't want
Correct.
anybody who's expecting, I want somebody who's just as real as I am?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is what I built. I built an entire business. So from me building out a revenue share group and a team of agents, most of those agents had that same mindset. You know, the clients, as I was active in production, those are the types of clients that I attracted. Now that I'm on the investment side, people that bring me their houses, you know, the contractors that I work with, everyone in my circle, that's who they are.
So let's talk about flipping. Your house flipping academy is coaching up agents all over the country, probably all over the world at this point. What are some of the biggest leverage plays people overlook when they're trying to get into the flipping game?
So the first issue that a lot of people have with flipping is they think that flipping is just simply finding a cheap house, improving it, and then selling it for as much money as possible. On its face, that's what it is. But what it really is like 7 businesses in one. So I think the mark that most people are missing is that if you get in and you actually build out verticals and you're efficient and you're making money from all of the different pieces of the process of flipping houses, that's what makes you really valuable. And then you're able to leverage all of the different pieces as the market shift.
Are you emulating something that you've seen? Or was this just God-given like inspiration where you're like, oh, wait a minute, I see the matrix?
I'm a visionary, man. And if I got to be honest with you, I'm the visionary. My husband is the implementer. I literally can step back from other people's businesses and I can see all the holes in it. And I can see all of the opportunities and the inefficiencies in it. And I can tell you exactly what to do, how to scale it, how to build it out. And then I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I almost get a rush from building that out. And so, yeah, I was just able to see it. And I told my husband that as we're building it, I'm like, why are we not brokering hard money loans to other people? Because everyone comes to us since we're flipping houses. Why are we not getting the houses that we find and we can't take down, getting those to other people? Why are we not leveraging our knowledge and skill in construction and design? And so for me, yeah, it was just something that I could see because I guess I'm just a visionary.
So how do you manage all of those pieces, right? Like, you know, the agent who wants to flip their first house, or maybe they flipped a couple of homes already and they're like, yeah, I make pretty good money flipping. And then I'm also on the retail side and I'm selling, but they're not in the staging game, interior design.
The leverage. This is the leverage lounge. You're never going to be an expert at everything. You can't be a loan officer and the inspector and do the photography. And you can't do all of it. But what you are is you're the connector to all of those pieces. And all you have to do is build out deals with those end players to capture revenue from all of those different streams. So I'm not even saying that, you know, people have to necessarily do it exactly how I've done it. I prefer to be a little bit more direct in my approach with the different businesses that I run. But even just being a connector for those can help you build out tons of different sources of revenue because you're going to be talking to these people anyway. When you're flipping houses, you got to talk to a designer. You got to have a construction crew ready. You got to have all of these moving pieces. So why are you not figuring out a way to make money off of that? Because as you start blowing up and people know who you are because you're putting out a good quality product, they're going to start coming and asking you questions about these things. And there's no reason why you can't benefit from it.